The vast, crystal spire rose high above the purple clouds of Vexara Prime. Its walls were made of clear crystal that caught the light of 3 suns and turned it into soft rainbows across every room. Inside the great chamber, thousands of alien beings sat in rows that climbed up like stairs. Each seat was built for the shape and size of its owner. The Vorath were tall and thin, their bodies like living glass. Light moved inside them in slow patterns that showed their thoughts and moods. The Krell looked like giant insects with shiny black shells. They did not speak with voices. Instead, their whole group mind hummed together in low tones that filled the air. The Silex floated in special tanks filled with yellow methane gas. Their long tentacles drifted slowly as they watched everything with small bright eyes. There were many other species too, some covered in fur, some with feathers, some with skin like wet stone. All of them had come to this place for thousands of years to make the rules of the galaxy. Today the chamber was quieter than usual. Everyone waited for the newest member species to appear on the huge screens that covered the walls. Humanity. The people from the small yellow star called Sol. They had only been part of the galactic community for 200 years. To most aliens that was less than the blink of an eye. High Arbiter Thalvor stood at the center platform. He was one of the oldest Vorath alive. His crystal body glowed deep blue, a sign of calm control. He raised one long arm. The lights in the chamber dimmed. A recording began to play across every screen in the known galaxy. The voice that spoke was cold and clear. It used the common trade language so all could understand. By order of the Galactic Concordance, humanity of the Sol System is now required to pay tribute. Each year, the humans must send 15% of all rare metals and heavy elements they mine from their worlds and asteroids. They must also send 20% of all antimatter they produce in their fusion plants. In addition, 1 million human workers must come each year to serve on Concordance projects across the stars. These workers will be chosen by Concordance officials. Any refusal to obey this order will be seen as a direct challenge to galactic law. The message ended. Silence filled the chamber. Many aliens turned to look at each other. Some nodded slowly. This was the normal way new species joined. The strong ones had always paid the price to be allowed to live in peace under Concordance protection. The tribute kept the old races rich and powerful. The new races learned their place. A few younger delegates, small feathered beings from the rim worlds, made soft clicking sounds that meant amusement. They had heard stories about humans. The stories said humans were loud, quick to fight, and always arguing among themselves. Surely these noisy newcomers would bow quickly. Thalvor waited. The humans had been given 3 full days to prepare their answer. Standard procedure. First a polite message of thanks, then a list of what they could pay, then a slow agreement to the full amount over several years. That was how every species before them had done it. The 3 days passed. No message came from Earth. On the 4th morning, a single signal arrived. It was not sent on the secure diplomatic channels. It came on every open frequency, in plain text, no encryption at all. Every translator in the chamber lit up at once. The words appeared huge on every screen. No. Just that. One word. For a moment nothing happened. Then soft laughter started in the back rows. The feathered rim delegates made high chirping sounds. A few Krell subminds broke away from the hive song and buzzed in confusion. Even some Vorath crystals flickered with faint green pulses that meant surprise mixed with humor. Thalvor did not laugh. His body stayed deep blue, but tiny cracks of white light appeared along his arms. That was a sign most aliens had never seen from him. It meant anger held tightly inside. He spoke again, this time live to Earth. Voice of Saul, this is High Arbiter Thalvor. Your response has been received. We require clarification. Do you refuse the lawful order of the Concordance? The main screen stayed dark for almost a minute. Then a human face appeared. She was not young. Lines marked her skin, around the eyes and mouth. Her dark hair was cut short. She wore a plain gray uniform, with no bright decorations. Behind her, people could see a simple metal wall, and a few screens showing star maps. No gold thrones, no jewels, just a room that looked like it was built for work. I am Admiral Elena Voss, she said. Her voice was calm and steady. I speak for the United Terran Directorate. Our answer is final. No tribute, no workers, no percentage of our resources. We keep what is ours. Murmurs rose through the chamber. The laughter stopped. Thalvor leaned forward slightly. You understand what refusal means. The Concordance has kept peace for 30,000 years. We have ended wars, stopped plagues, protected trade lanes. Your species is young. You do not know what happens to those who stand alone. Admiral Voss looked straight into the camera. Her eyes did not move away. We know your history, she said. We studied it carefully. We read every record we could get. We know how the tribute system works. You call it protection. We call it theft, dressed in fine words. Humanity has already paid enough in blood and time to earn our place. We will not pay again. A Silex elder spoke next. Its voice came through the gas tank, like bubbles popping slowly. You are one small system. We are thousands of worlds. Our fleets can reach you in weeks. Think of your children. Voss smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was thin and sharp. Our children are the reason we say no. We will not sell their future for your comfort. The screen went dark. In the crystal spire, the chamber exploded into noise. Delegates shouted in a dozen languages. Translators struggled to keep up. Some called for war votes. Others begged for more talks. The Krell hive mind broke into sharp, painful static as millions of insects argued inside one shared thought. Thalvor raised both arms. The lights flashed bright, then dimmed again. The room slowly quieted. He stared at the blank screen where the human face had been. Send scouts, he ordered in a low voice. Full stealth. Watch their worlds. Watch their ships. Watch everything. Deep inside his crystal body, the white cracks of anger grew just a little wider. Far away, on Earth, Admiral Voss turned away from the camera. She looked at her officers standing behind her. They were quiet. No one cheered. No one looked afraid. One man, a captain with gray in his beard, spoke softly. Do you think they will back down? Voss shook her head once. No, they will test us, and when they do, she paused. We show them what humans do when someone tries to take what is ours. Outside the windows of the command room, the blue curve of Earth turned slowly in the sunlight. Beyond it, the black of space waited, full of stars, full of ships, full of eyes that were now watching Saul with new interest. The word no had crossed the galaxy, and the galaxy was already starting to change. The hours after Admiral Voss's words felt like the calm before a storm. In the crystal spire, the delegates did not leave their seats. They talked in low voices, sent urgent messages to their homeworlds, and waited. No one knew what would happen next. The humans had said no, but saying no was one thing. Doing something about it was another. High Arbiter Thalvor stayed on the central platform. His crystal body had gone from deep blue to a steady silver gray. That color meant focus and no emotion. He gave quiet orders to his aides. Activate all listening posts. Pull every scout ship we have near Saul. I want eyes on every human world, every shipyard, every jump gate they use. Across the galaxy, Concordance scout ships, small, dark, almost invisible, turned toward human space. They moved carefully, staying far from the normal trade lanes. The pilots knew the rules. Do not be seen. Humans were new, but they had sharp sensors. Everyone remembered the stories of human ships that appeared out of nowhere during their early contact days. 3 standard days passed again. Then the first reports came in. A Vorath scout commander sent a tight beam message straight to Thalvor. The words appeared on his private screen. High Arbiter, anomaly detected at Proxima Centauri shipyards. Human construction rate has increased by 400% in the last 6 months. New hulls launched yesterday. Drive signatures unknown. Not fusion, not antimatter, something colder, something silent. Thalvor read it twice. Then he asked for visuals. The scout sent them. The images showed human orbital yards that used to look small and simple. Now they were huge. Dozens of long black ships floated in formation. They had no bright engine glow, no heat trails. They just were there, like shadows that moved. Another report came from a Krell scout near Alpha Centauri. Hive observes, human defense platforms now number over 200 around Earth alone. Energy readings suggest weapons of unknown type. Some platforms show gravitic distortion fields. Impossible for current human tech level, according to our records. Thalvor felt a strange tightness inside his crystal lattice. He had seen many species rise and fall. None had ever changed this fast. More data poured in. Human mining colonies on distant rocks now had heavy shields. Asteroid bases that looked empty before now showed weapon emplacements. Jump gates near Sol, gates the humans had built themselves, were active with traffic that did not match train patterns. Ships came and went, but scans could not see inside them. The hulls blocked every probe. A Silex elder in a methane tank spoke up in the chamber. Its voice was slow and deep. For how long? No one answered. The question hung in the air. Then Admiral Voss appeared again. This time it was not a request. Her signal forced its way onto every screen in the crystal spire. No warning, no polite channel request. The humans had hacked the open broadcast net. Every delegate saw her face at the same moment. She stood in the same plain room. Behind her, a large window showed Earth at night. City lights sparkled like stars brought down to the ground. High Arbiter Thalvor, she began, and all members of the Concordance. You asked for clarification. Here it is. She raised one hand. A data packet appeared as a glowing cube in the air beside her. It spun slowly. This packet contains coordinates, timestamps, firing solutions. Every major Concordance military base, shipyard, refueling station, and command center, within 1,000 light-years of Sol. We have them all mapped. We have had them mapped for years. Gasps and clicks filled the chamber. The Krell hive song broke into sharp, painful notes. A few Rimworld feathered beings stood up in shock. Voss continued. Her voice stayed calm. We are not asking for war. We are showing you reality. You demanded tribute. We calculated the true cost, not just credits or metal. The cost in freedom, in dignity, in the lives of our people forced to serve you. We refuse that cost. Instead, we offer an alternative. The data cube stopped spinning. Words appeared across it in bright red letters, in every galactic language. We have already paid in preparation, in silence, in the weapons you never saw us build. The screen showed something new, a single image. A human ship, long, black, sharp-edged, hanging in deep space. No lights, no engines glowing, just a shape against the stars. Below it, text read, Silent Judge Class, armed with kinetic lances, phase disruptors, and singularity mines, capable of independent operation for decades, already in position. Thalvor stared at the image. His aides sent urgent queries to Concordance archives. The answer came back fast. No record of this ship class, no record of these weapons, nothing. The chamber was in chaos now. Delegates shouted over each other. Some demanded immediate fleet mobilization. Others begged for calm. A young Vorath delegate stood and pointed at the screen. They bluff. They are one system. We have 10,000 worlds. Admiral Voss heard him. Or perhaps her broadcast picked up the sound. She looked straight at the camera again. Bluff, she said. Look closer. The image changed. Now it showed not one ship, but hundreds. They formed a loose sphere around the crystal spire itself. The scout ships had missed them. The stealth fields were perfect. The silent judges had been there for days, maybe weeks. No weapons fired, no threats shouted. They just waited. Voss spoke one last time. We do not want your empire. We do not want your throne. We want to be left alone. Remove the tribute demand. Treat us as equals. Or learn what happens when humans decide they have been patient long enough. The broadcast ended. The screens went dark. In the chamber, silence fell like a heavy curtain. No one moved. No one spoke. Thalvor looked at the place where the human face had been. His crystal body showed thin lines of bright orange now. Fear. Real fear. He had not felt it in thousands of years. He turned to his senior aide. Cancel the tribute edict, he said quietly. Draft a message. Full recognition of Sol's sovereignty. No tribute, ever. The aide stared. High Arbiter. Do it, Thalvor said, before they decide the price is higher than words. Far away on Earth, Admiral Voss walked away from the camera. Her officers waited in the shadows. One of them, a young lieutenant, asked, Ma'am, did we really have ships around their spire? Voss looked at him. A small, tired smile crossed her face. We have ships where they need to be, she said. The rest is just good theater. She turned to the window. The stars looked back at her. Quiet, patient, waiting. The galaxy had heard one word. Now it waited to hear what came next. The crystal spire felt colder than before. The air recyclers hummed louder to cover the nervous whispers. Delegates sat stiff in their seats. No one wanted to be the first to speak after Admiral Voss's last words. The image of those black, silent judge ships still burned in every mind. They had been there, close enough to touch the spire's crystal walls, and no one had noticed. High Arbiter Thalvor stood alone on the central platform. His body glowed a dull gray now, almost clear in places. The orange fear lines had faded, but new thin cracks of pale violet appeared along his shoulders. That color meant doubt. He had never shown it in public before. He turned to the chief analyst, a young Vorath named Lyrakel. Her crystal form flickered fast with nervous light. Tell me everything, Thalvor said. His voice was low. No guesses, only facts. Lyrakel pulled up the data on a floating screen. Her fingers moved quick over the controls. We tore apart the human data packet, she said. It is real. Every coordinate matches our own secret maps. Every timestamp lines up with our fleet movements. They knew where our supply ships docked. They knew the patrol patterns. They even knew the blind spots in our sensor nets. A Rimworld delegate, a small creature with bright green feathers, spoke up from the back rows. How? It asked in a high voice. They are new. 200 years. We have watched them since first contact. We saw their rockets, their slow ships, their weak lasers. How did they do this? Lyrakel answered without looking up. They did not build it all in 200 years. They built most of it before we found them. Gasps filled the chamber. Thalvor raised one hand for silence. Explain, he said. Lyrakel brought up older records. Images appeared. Grainy scans from the early days when the Concordance first noticed Sol. Human radio signals, simple probes, wooden sailing ships on blue oceans. Then, faster ships, nuclear fire, moon landings. All normal for a young species. But then she showed something new. Hidden in the noise, she said. Look at their deep space probes from before contact. The ones we thought were just science experiments. Voyager, Pioneer, New Horizons. We scanned them years ago. Empty shells, dead batteries, worthless. She zoomed in on one image, a small metal probe drifting between stars. Now look closer. The image sharpened. Tiny ports along the side. Not antennas, not sensors, launch tubes. Microscopic, designed to release something small, something that could drift for decades. Self-replicating probes, Lyrakel said. They sent thousands, maybe millions, over centuries, before we even knew their name. The probes fed on hydrogen from stars. They copied themselves. They watched. They waited. They mapped every jump lane, every military base, every weak point. While we laughed at their primitive rockets, their machines were already inside our house. The chamber went quiet again. A Silex Elder's tentacles stopped moving inside its tank. Falvor stared at the screen. "How many?" he asked. Lyrakel hesitated. "We cannot count them all, but estimates say, enough. Enough to choke every major route if they wake up. Enough to make stars flare on command. Enough to collapse jump points and trap whole fleets." A Krell-high voice rose. It was not calm. It cracked like breaking glass. "They turned patience into a weapon." Falvor nodded once. "Yes." He turned to the full chamber. "We were wrong," he said. The words tasted bitter. "We thought we were the teachers. We thought they were the students. But they studied us longer than we studied them. They prepared for the day we would demand tribute. They prepared for exactly this." He paused. "And they did it without a single battle, without a single spy, without ever raising their voice, until now." Delegates looked at each other. Some faces showed anger. Some showed shame. A few showed fear so deep it made their bodies shake. Then a new message arrived. Not from Earth this time. From a neutral relay station near the Orion Arm. It was marked urgent. Eyes only, for the High Arbiter. Falvor opened it, alone. The text was short. "We know you are reading our old probes now. Good. Keep reading. You will find more. We left gifts. In your shipyards, in your fuel depots, in the walls of this very spire. Small things, quiet things, insurance. If you force our hand, the galaxy will feel it. Not just Sol. Everywhere. No signature. Just one line at the bottom. We prefer peace. But we are very good at other things." Falvor closed the message. His hands trembled, for the first time in his long life. He looked up at the delegates. "They have been inside our systems for generations," he said. "Not soldiers, not ships. Machines smaller than dust. Machines that do not sleep. Machines that answer only to Earth." A Vorath general stood up. His crystal body flashed bright red, pure rage. "Then we strike first," he shouted. "We burn Sol. We end this now." Falvor turned to him slowly. "With what?" he asked. "Our fleets are in range of their silent judges. Our bases are marked for their hidden weapons. If we move, we lose half our strength before the first shot." The general sat down. His red light faded to nothing. Falvor spoke again, this time to everyone. "I am sending a new message to Admiral Voss. Full retreat of the tribute demand. Full recognition of Sol as a core sovereign system. Equal voice in this chamber. No more threats. No more tests." Murmurs rose. Some agreed. Some looked angry. But no one argued. Falvor continued. "Because if we push them again, they will not just defend. They will collect. And what they collect will not be tribute. It will be everything we have built." He looked at the blank screen where Voss had last appeared. "They are not like us," he said quietly. "We ruled by age, by size, by numbers. They rule by preparation, by silence, by the promise that if you touch them, the stars themselves will answer." Outside the spire, the silent judges still waited, black shapes against the purple clouds. No lights, no sound, just patient, just there. On Earth, in the command room, Admiral Voss received the first draft of the Concordance's new proposal. Then she smiled. Small, tired, satisfied. She turned to her team. They blinked, she said. A young officer asked, "Do we trust them?" Voss looked out at the stars. "No," she answered, "but we watch, and we keep building." The galaxy had learned something new that day. Humans did not need to shout. They only needed to wait. And when the waiting ended, the galaxy shook. The crystal spire's lights felt too bright now. Every crystal wall reflected worried faces and flickering colors from alien bodies. Delegates no longer shouted. They spoke in low, careful voices, as if loud words might wake something dangerous. The silent judge ships still circled outside, black and quiet, like patient hunters in the dark. High Arbiter Thalvor had not left the central platform since the last message from Earth. His crystal form stayed silver-gray, but the violet cracks of doubt had spread to his chest. He looked older than his thousands of years. A soft chime sounded. The main screen lit up again. No request, no warning. Admiral Elena Voss appeared once more. This time, she did not stand alone. Behind her stood rows of humans in plain gray uniforms. Men and women of different ages, different skin colors, different heights, all calm, all looking straight ahead. No smiles, no fear. Her voice carried the same steady tone as before. High Arbiter, members of the Concordance, we have received your draft proposal. You offer to remove the tribute demand. You offer recognition of Sol as a sovereign system. You offer us a seat at your table, as equals. She paused. The chamber held its breath. We accept, she said. A wave of relief moved through the delegates. Some exhaled loudly. A few rim-world feathers fluttered in joy. Even the Krell hive song softened to a low, steady hum. But Voss was not finished. We accept, she repeated, with conditions. The relief stopped. Eyes turned back to the screen. Voss raised a hand. A new document appeared beside her. A simple text file projected large for all to see. First, the tribute edict is erased forever. Not paused, not reduced. Erased from every record. Your archives will show it never existed. Thalvor nodded slowly. That was expected. Second, Voss continued, Sol becomes a core system with full veto power in this chamber. One human voice can block any decision that threatens our people or our freedom. Murmurs rose. Veto power was rare. Only the oldest races had it. A young Vorath delegate stood up to protest, but Thalvor raised a hand. The delegate sat again. Third, Voss said, no Concordance ship enters Sol space without our permission. No scouts, no observers, no protection fleets. Our borders are closed until we decide otherwise. A Silex elder bubbled angrily in its tank. You ask too much. We cannot allow one system to shut out the rest of the galaxy. Voss looked at the elder's image on the screen. You allowed it for yourselves for 30,000 years, she said. Now it is our turn. The elder's tentacles curled tight. Voss went on. Fourth, we will join trade. We will share knowledge when we choose. We will send ambassadors. But never workers. Never tribute. Never submission. She lowered her hand. These are our terms. Simple. Clear. Take them or leave them. But know this. If you leave them, the next conversation will not be words. The document floated there, glowing white with black text. No fancy seals, no long legal phrases, just 4 short points. Thalvor read them again. Then he looked at his aides. They had already run simulations. Every path that refused these terms ended the same way. Lost fleets, broken jump lanes, stars flaring in warning, silence where Concordance worlds used to be. He turned back to the screen. "We accept your terms," he said. His voice was quiet but firm. "The Sol Accord will be prepared at once, signed here in this chamber, on neutral ground. Your delegation will have the head seats." Voss nodded once. "Good. Our ship leaves in 3 hours. We will arrive in 2 standard days. Prepare the table." The screen went dark. In the chamber, no one cheered. No one argued. They simply moved. Aides rushed to drafting rooms. Translators worked fast to make the new accord perfect in every language. Cleaning drones polished the head table, usually empty except for ancient symbols. Now it would hold human chairs. 2 days later, the human delegation arrived. Their ship did not look like the silent judges. It was smaller, silver, sleek, but not threatening. It docked smoothly at the spire's main gate. The doors opened. Admiral Voss stepped out first. She wore the same gray uniform. Behind her came 10 others, scientists, diplomats, soldiers, engineers. All walked with steady steps, no weapons visible. But everyone knew the silent judges still waited outside. The chamber was full. Every delegate had come. No one wanted to miss this. Falvor stood at the head table. For the first time, he stepped aside. He gestured to the central chair. "Admiral Voss," he said, "the seat is yours." Voss walked forward. She did not rush. She looked at every face in the rows. Then she sat. Her people took places beside and behind her. Falvor sat to her right. A quiet signal. The accord appeared on every screen. It was short, 5 pages. The old tribute rules gone. New rules in their place. Equality, veto, closed borders, free choice. One by one the ancient races signed. Vorath crystal pens scratched the surface. Krell mandibles clicked approval codes. Silex tentacles pressed gas-sealed stamps. Rimworld feathers dipped in ink. Last came Voss. She took a plain black pen from her pocket. She signed in simple block letters. Elena Voss, Voice of Soul. The chamber lights dimmed for a moment. A soft chime rang. The Soul Accord was law. Voss stood. "Thank you," she said. No more words, no speeches. The silver ship left soon after. The silent judges stayed a little longer, then vanished. One moment there, the next gone. No trace. Back on Earth, Voss entered the command room. Officers waited. "It is done," she said. A captain asked, "Do you think they will keep their word?" Voss looked out at the blue planet below. "For now," she answered. "They learned something today. We are not afraid, we are prepared, and preparation lasts longer than promises." She sat down. A screen showed the stars. Across the galaxy, news spread fast. Traders whispered in spaceports. Children on distant worlds heard new bedtime stories. Aliens who once laughed at humans now spoke their name carefully. The old order had cracked. Not broken, not yet, but cracked wide enough for light to come through. And in that light, humans stood tall, not as conquerors, not as beggars, but as equals who had earned their place the hard way. With patience. With the promise that next time, words might not be enough. The galaxy turned on. Quieter now, warier now, and forever changed. The weeks after the Soul Accord felt strange across the galaxy. Trade ships still moved between stars. Light still shone on 1,000 worlds. But something had shifted. The old rules no longer felt solid. Aliens who once walked tall now glanced over their shoulders when they spoke the word human. On Vexara Prime, the crystal spires stood quiet. Delegates came and went, but fewer laughed in the halls. Fewer made jokes about young species. The head table now had a permanent chair for the human ambassador. It stayed empty most days. Humans did not visit often. When they did, They came without fanfare, said what needed saying, and left. High Arbiter Thalvor spent long hours alone in his private chamber. His crystal body had lost some shine. The violet cracks of doubt never fully healed. He reviewed old records late into the night cycles. He searched for the moment the concordance had missed humanity's true nature. He found no single point. It was 30,000 years of certainty that no one could challenge the old order. One evening, a young Vorath aide entered quietly. "High Arbiter," the aide said. "A message from Saul. Not urgent, marked personal." Thalvor took the small data crystal. He placed it in the reader. Admiral Elena Voss's face appeared. No uniform this time. She sat in a simple room with a window behind her. Outside the window, Earth's moon hung large and silver. "Thalvor," she began. Her voice was softer than before. "I hope this finds you well. We do not speak often. That is by design. But I wanted you to know something." She leaned forward slightly. "We never wanted to break your counsel. We wanted to join it, not as servants, not as equals forced by fear, as true partners. The silent judges were never meant to fire. They were meant to make sure no one ever asked us to kneel again." She paused. "The galaxy is big. There is room for many ways. We choose ours. You can choose yours. But from now on, no one chooses for us." The message ended. No demands, no threats, just truth. Thalvor sat in silence for a long time. Then he sent a short reply. "Thank you for the words. We hear them." He did not say more. Words felt small now. On distant worlds, the change spread slowly. In the crowded markets of the core rings, traders whispered new prices. Human goods, simple things like durable tools, clean fusion cells, fast medical scanners became more valuable. Not because humans charged more, because buyers now paid without haggling. They paid because they knew the alternative. In quiet bars on rim colonies, old spacers told stories. They spoke of the day the tribute demand vanished. They spoke of black ships that appeared and disappeared like ghosts. They spoke of one word, no, that echoed louder than any fleet. Children listened. Alien children with scales, feathers, shells, gas sacks. They learned a new name. Human. Not monster. Not weakling. Something else. Something that waited. Something that built in silence. Something that answered force with greater force, but only when pushed too far. On Earth itself, life went on. Cities grew taller. Farms spread under domes on Mars. Ships launched daily, not to conquer, but to explore. Scientists mapped new stars. Engineers tested quiet drives. Families raised children who would never know tribute. Admiral Voss retired from public view. She moved to a small house by a northern sea. She planted trees. She read old books. Sometimes young officers visited. They asked questions. "Do you regret it?" one asked. Voss looked at the water. "Regret what?" "Making them afraid." She shook her head. "I regret nothing. Fear is a teacher. We taught them respect. Respect lasts longer than fear." She smiled then. A real smile. Small, tired, satisfied. The Sol Accord held. No one tested it. No one dared. The concordance met every cycle. Humans sent delegates when it mattered. They voted when needed. They blocked laws that smelled of old control. They said yes when it made sense. They said no when it did not. The galaxy grew used to the new balance. Trade boomed. Wars stayed small. Plagues were stopped faster. Knowledge flowed freer. But in dark corners of 1,000 worlds, quiet questions still formed. A miner on a cold asteroid looked at the stars and wondered, what else are they building out there? A scholar in an ancient library read forbidden texts and asked, how long were they watching us before we noticed them? A child on a green moon drew pictures of black ships and asked her mother, "Will the humans come here one day?" The mother answered carefully, "They might, but only if we ask them to." And somewhere in the deep black between stars, a silent judge drifted, silent, patient, watching. Not angry, not asleep, just ready. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Humans did not need empires. They did not need thrones. They needed space to breathe, space to grow, space to choose. And when someone tried to take that space away, humans answered. Not with noise, not with rage, with preparation, with patience, with one simple word that still echoed across the light years. No. And because of that one word, the stars felt different now. Wider, brighter, and a little more careful. The end had not come. A new beginning had, and the galaxy turned on, forever marked by the day a young species looked at 30,000 years of tradition and answered with quiet strength. The reply that rocked the galaxy was not loud. It was final.